Hello everyone. In today's video, let us learn about mutation. Gene as a unit of mutation is the topic. So let us see the evolution of gene concept. In 1866, G. J. Mendel defined gene as a unit factor that controls specific phenotypic trait. That means a factor that is present on a DNA which is going to control the specific phenotypic trait. Phenotypic means the functioning of the cell, that the morphology and the functioning of the cell. Say for example, a gene is a structure which give rise to a protein or an enzyme which is going to control the cell. So therefore he defined gene as a unit factor that control specific phenotypic trait of a cell. Later on, in 1902, Sir A.E. Garrod said that one gene is responsible for the one metabolic pathway. He gave one gene, one metabolic pathway theory. He said that one gene will give rise to all the enzymes that are involved in one specific metabolic pathway. But later on, this theory was proved wrong. Later, in 1940, Beadle and Tatum said a concept, that is one gene, one enzyme theory. The theory name is one gene and one enzyme. That is, one gene is responsible for giving rise to one enzyme. But later on, this theory was modified by U.M. Ingram in 1957. He said that one gene is responsible for synthesizing one polypeptide. So this theory is called as one gene, one polypeptide theory. Why this theory was most accepted is because, say for example, one gene, one enzyme means we all know that enzymes can be made up of one polypeptide chain, or some enzymes are made up of 2 to 3 different types of polypeptide chain. So for such enzymes, we cannot say that all the polypeptide chains are from one gene itself. So therefore, one gene, one polypeptide theory was mostly accepted by everybody. So that is why this one gene, one polypeptide theory is the most accepted theory. So let us see the definition of gene. There are various definitions in different textbooks and in internet. So let us see some of the definitions. The first definition is, the gene is the unit of genetic information that controls specific aspect of a phenotype. That means a gene is a unit which is going to carry the genetic information. So this genetic information is going to control the phenotype of a cell. Phenotype means the structure of a cell, the functioning of a cell, the enzymes that are produced in the cell, the proteins that are produced in the cell. All this is being controlled by a gene. Now that gene is going to carry the genetic information to control all these aspects, that is the phenotypic aspects. The another definition for gene is, the gene is the unit of genetic information that specifies the synthesis of one polypeptide. So gene will carry genetic information for the synthesis of a polypeptide. That is another definition that is given to gene. Let us see what are the terms related to gene. The first term in gene is, a gene will have a part known as recon. Recon is the smallest unit of DNA which is capable of undergoing recombination. So recon stands for recombination. So recon is a part of a DNA in a gene which undergoes recombination. That is why the name given as recon. Recon are a part of DNA which undergoes recombination. The next term is muton. Muton is a unit on the DNA which will undergo mutations. Cistron. Cistron is the unit of function. It is a gene which is capable of synthesizing the polypeptide. So a gene which synthesizes a polypeptide chain, that we call it as cistron. A gene which synthesizes a polypeptide chain but usually undergoes mutation, that is known as muton. A gene or a smallest unit on DNA which is capable of undergoing recombination, that we call it as recon. So these are certain terms that are related to gene. So let us move on to mutation. What is a mutation? Mutation is the alteration in the genetic material of a cell. So what is the genetic material? DNA is the genetic material. So in the genetic material, if there are any changes that is going to occur from the wild type is the normal type. So from the wild type, if there are any changes that occur in a wild type, that we call it as, that change we call it as mutation. Now mutation can be temporary or it can be permanent. So when does mutation occur? Mutation occurs maybe because due to replication, or maybe because of some damage that occurs during the cell, maybe some errors during replication. So maybe some errors during copying of the mRNA. RNA polymerase does some mutation while copying mRNA. So all these are mutations, the changes that are going to occur. So these are the reasons why mutation will usually occur. Some errors that is caused during replication is the main reason for mutation. So sometimes the mutation will remain permanently, or sometimes during next cycle of replication it will be altered, and that will be rectified. So that is why we call that mutation can be temporary as well. Now mutations are usually transmitted to neighboring cells through replication. This will result, when mutation is transmitted to the neighboring cell during replication, that results in the abnormal functioning of the particular tissue. Say if the neighboring cells will come together to form a tissue, as we all know. So if neighboring cells are also mutated, what happens? The particular functioning of the tissue or the organ will become failure, or it start functioning abnormally. Mutation can also be transmitted from parents to offsprings, which results in certain genetic disorders like cystic fibrosis and all. So let us see some terms that are related to mutation. So mutagen. Mutation is the sudden change that causes in the genetic material. So mutagen is the agent that causes mutation. Any agent, it could be physical agent or chemical agent or biological agent which causes mutation is known as a mutagen. Mutagenesis is a process where mutation occurs. Mutation process is called as mutagenesis. Some people does mutagenesis artificially. Sometimes mutagenesis occurs naturally. The process of mutation is called as mutagenesis. Muta is change, genesis is birth. So mutagenesis is the process of mutation. Mutant is the name given to the organism in which mutation has occurred. So let us come to our topic, that is gene and mutation. A mutated form of gene is called as mutant allele. When a gene is mutated, that gene we call it as mutant allele. So therefore, gene, as we all know, gene is a part of DNA which carries information for protein synthesis. So if that DNA is made up of nucleotide bases. So if a nucleotide base is altered, so we all know that nucleotide bases are arranged like A, T, G, C, C, G, A, T and all. So like this it is being arranged, the nucleotide bases are arranged. So if one of the nucleotide is missed, or if it is deleted, or if it is added, or if it is been replaced by another nucleotide, if the order is not maintained during the replication, if there is any change that has occurred in the base sequence of the nucleotide, then that nucleotide will be copied to mRNA. So the genetic information itself, because there is a change in the genetic information itself is misleading the mRNA. So on the mRNA there are codons present. Now these codons are 3 nucleotide bases on mRNA is called as a codon. So 3 nucleotides, we call it as triplet codon. They code for amino acids. So each of the codon will code for a specific amino acid. So once the genetic information on the DNA itself is wrong, once it gets copied on mRNA, again on the mRNA the triplet codon also becomes wrong. Therefore, the amino acid that the codon is coding will again be wrong, because of which the protein or the polypeptide chain or the enzyme that is being formed will be non-functional, or it will be less productive, because of which the total functioning of the cell will become abnormal. So therefore, gene and mutation are always related. In a gene, if there is any sudden change, then the functioning of the cell will become abnormal. There are several types of mutations. So let us see. First one is point mutation. Point mutation is when single base pair is altered. In a nucleotide sequence, in a nitrogenous bases, in a nitrogenous bases are arranged. So if one of the nitrogenous base or a single base pair is altered, that altered specified altered place we call it as point mutation, because there is only one single base pair that is being altered. That is why we call it as point mutation. Point mutation because they affect only one base pair in a given location. In that place it will affect only one base pair. That is why it is called as point mutation. Point mutation can occur as base substitution, base addition. Here base means the nitrogenous bases, ATGC. So point mutation can occur as base substitution, base addition, base deletion and base rearrangement. Let us see base substitution. With an example, we will see what is base substitution. So here you can see ATTGC, ATTTGC, which is a sequence. Base substitution means in a point mutation, one of the base will be substituted with another base. Say for example, here ATTTGC is present. So here instead of this third T, instead of the second T, there is A. So this thymine is substituted to adenine. This is called as base substitution, where one of the base will be substituted by another base. So that is why we call it as base substitution. The next term is base addition. You can see in this example, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 nitrogenous bases, but an additional nitrogenous base A is added here. So that is why we call it as nitrogenous base addition. So this type of point mutation we call it as base addition. Another type is base deletion. You can see here ATTTGC, where one of the T is being removed. This space is empty now. So this is called as base deletion, where one of the nitrogenous base will be removed. It will be removed means it will not be blank here. Instead of in this place G will come. Okay, that is why here one of the base is deleted. This was the normal type and now this is the mutated type where base deletion has occurred. Another type is base rearrangement. You can see here ATTTGC is the sequence here, but here the T has shifted to the G's place and G has come to T's place. That is why the bases are rearranged here, ATTGTC. So here the bases are rearranged. So that is why this is called as base rearrangement. So here at only one location, in all these cases at only one location, one base pair is altered. That is why these are called as point mutation. Now there are several types of point mutation. So we'll see what are the different types of point mutation. So types of point mutations are silent mutations, missense mutations, nonsense mutations and frame shift mutations. These mutations are named according to if and how they change the encoded protein. How are they going to change the encoded protein? Based on that, these mutations are named silent, missense, nonsense and frame shift. Let us move on to silent mutation. Silent mutations change the nucleotide sequence of a codon, but they do not change the amino acid encoded by that codon. Now we will see this with an example. Say for example, this none means there is no change. This is the wild type. Okay, so there is a sequence here. So this sequence will code for methionine, threonine, serine, proline, lysine and glycine. If there is any base substitution that has occurred, say for example here it was C. C was the nucleotide basis. Because of point mutation, now the base is C is substituted to A. So there is a mutation here. It was seen that ACC will code for threonine. We also know that ACA also code for threonine. This we call it as codon degeneracy. Because of codon degeneracy, even if there is mutation, ACC also codes for threonine, ACA also codes for threonine, because of which there is no change in the polypeptide that is being formed or a protein that is being formed. Since there is no change in the protein, the functioning of the cell is also not altered. So this type of mutation we call it as silent mutation. Though there is mutation, there is no change seen in the cell or the protein that is being formed. That is why the mutation has become silent now. That is why the name given as silent mutation. This happens when there is more than one codon for a given amino acid. When there is more than one codon for a given amino acid, this type of silent mutation will occur, where a single base substitution may result in the formation of a new codon for the same amino acid. See here, there is a single base substitution, but the amino acid that is coded by both the codons are same. Another example is CGU codes for arginine. CGC also codes for arginine. So even if the U is replaced by C, both the codons will code for arginine. So therefore the protein that is being formed will not have any changes and the cell will function normally in this case. So effect of silent mutation is there is no change in the protein. Since there is no change in the protein, there is no change in the phenotype of the organism as well. There is no change in the structure of the protein. There is no change in the functioning of the protein. Let us move on to the next type of mutation, that is missense mutation. Missense mutation involve a single base substitution. Even silent mutation is involved with a single base substitution. Missense mutation also involves a single base substitution. Now here, there is a change in an amino acid if there is a mutation. For example, you can see here in this image, none means there is no mutation, that is the wild type. So you can see in case of serine, here TCC is the codon that is coded for serine. If one of the C is being replaced by G, then this codon will code for another amino acid, cysteine. So therefore, here there will be change in the protein's structure. So this type of mutation we call it as missense mutation. Another example is GAG is a codon which will code for glutamic acid. If one of this base is being replaced, so here A is replaced with U, so it is GUG. So if A is being replaced by U, then GUG codes for valine. So like this, missense mutation will occur. So let us see what are the effects of missense mutation. First thing is they alter the primary structure of the protein, but the effect might be different. Sometimes it also depends on where the mutation has actually occurred in the protein. If it is not an important part, say for example, if the mutation has occurred in an active site of the protein, then in an active site, if the amino acid is being changed, then that will totally alter the protein functioning. So the protein will become either inactive or the protein will become non-functional in that case. But if the mutation has occurred in any of the other region of the protein apart from the active site, then there might be chances that the protein would still function, but the productivity will be less, or sometimes it can again produce normally. The productivity can be normal as well. So for instance, replacement of a non-polar amino acid in the protein's interior with a polar amino acid. If a non-polar amino acid is replaced into a polar amino acid in the protein interior, this can drastically alter the protein's three-dimensional structure. Because it alters the three-dimensional structure, it can alter the function of the protein as well. In another case, if the replacement of an amino acid happens in the active site, then it will destroy the enzyme activity or the protein activity. However, the replacement of one polar amino acid with another at the protein surface, if it happens, then there might be no effect at all. That type of mutation we call it as neutral mutation. Even if there is mutation on the protein surface, if there is a change in the amino acid on the protein surface and still the protein functions normally, then this type of mutation we call it as neutral mutations. We should not get confused between silent mutations and neutral mutations. Silent mutations are when even if the codon is changed, the amino acid remains same. In neutral mutations, the codon is also changed, because of which amino acid is also changed, but they are present on the protein surface. Therefore, they are not changing the protein's function. That is why we call it as neutral mutations. So these type of mutation we call it as neutral mutations. So missense mutation play a very important role in providing new variability to drive the evolution. So missense mutations are the ones which plays a very significant role in evolution, because they often are not lethal. They are not lethal and therefore they remain in the gene pool itself. So let us move on to the next type of mutation, that is nonsense mutation. Here, nonsense mutation convert a sense codon to a nonsense codon. What is a sense codon? Sense codon is a codon which will code for an amino acid. Nonsense codon is a codon which do not code for any amino acid. They act as a stop codon. Nonsense codons are also called as stop codons. So when a sense codon is converted to a stop codon or a nonsense codon, this type of mutation we call it as nonsense mutation. Because of nonsense mutation, usually there is early termination of translation. Therefore, the protein or a polypeptide that is being formed will be usually short. Since sense codon is converted to nonsense codon means stop codon. Since sense codon is converted to stop codon, the stop codon will not code for any amino acid. So stop codon is responsible for termination of translation. So once the stop codon is reached, termination of translation will occur. Early termination of translation will occur. Therefore, the polypeptide that is being formed will be very short. So let us see the example here. So in this image, you can see there are various nitrogenous bases which will code for various amino acids. So here after proline, AAG codes for lysine. But here one of the base is substituted to AAA will code for lysine. Here it is being converted to AAG. It is being converted to AAG, because of which stop codon is reached early. Stop codon is being formed. So the sense codon has become nonsense codon now. So therefore, stop codon is being formed. So there is early termination of translation. So therefore, the polypeptide here, there is a long polypeptide, here there is a short polypeptide, because of which a short polypeptide is synthesized. So effects of nonsense mutation is we will see. So this, depending on the location of the mutation in the gene, the phenotype may be more or less severely affected. So if this nonsense mutation occurs at the end of the gene, then the severity of the protein shortening is less, because already at the end there is a stop codons. So if at the end, if there is nonsense mutation, then the severity is not very much. But if the location of this nonsense mutation is in between the gene, then the shortened polypeptide will be synthesized, which will be again non-functional. Of course, it will be non-functional. Most proteins retain some function if they are shortened by only one or two amino acid. That is what I said, that if they are present at the end of the chain, at the end of the gene, then it might not result in severity, that it might still remain functional if the nonsense mutation occurs at the end of the gene, near the terminator sequences in the gene. Still the protein will be functional. The next type of mutation is frame shift mutation. Frame shift mutation arise from the insertion or deletion. Till now whatever we saw was base substitution. Now frame shift mutation involves the addition or deletion of base pairs. Frame shift mutation involves addition or deletion of base pairs within the coding region of the gene. So if any gene is being if any base is being deleted, or if any base is being added, then that type of mutation we call it as frame shift mutation, because they will change the coding sequence itself. Say for example, here you can see in this sequence there is no mutation. This is a wild type. Here you can see where CC you can see here CCCCGAA, you can see. So here a G is being added, one extra G is being added. So earlier it was coding for methionine, threonine, serine, but later, because the coding sequence has changed, since the code consists of a precise sequence of triplet codons, the addition or deletion of fewer than the three base pairs causes the reading frame itself to be shifted. So here the reading frame will shift because one G is being added, extra G is being added, because of which the whole reading frame will shift. So here it was first proline. Because there is a mutation, now this sequence is coding for alanine. Then since the frame shift has changed, AAG was coding for lysine, but AA will code for glutamic acid. So the reading frame is itself being shifted. So how the ribosome and ribosome and the mRNA reads the tRNA reads the codon or anticodon interaction, all that is called as reading frame. That reading frame will be completely shifted, because of which further the complete protein that is being synthesized further will become wrong here in frame shift mutation. So what are the effects of frame shift? In frame shift mutation, frame shift, the name itself says that the reading frame will be shifted because of addition or deletion of a nucleotide base. That is why it is called as frame shift. The reading frame is completely shifted. So the reading frame is completely shifted. That is why the name given as frame shift. Why frame shift occurs? Because of the addition or deletion of a nucleotide base pair. Frame shift mutation are usually very deleterious and they yield mutant phenotypes. They will completely alter the phenotypic function of a cell. This may also result in the synthesis of non-functional proteins. In addition, frame shift mutation often produces stop codon so that the peptide product is shorter as well as different in the sequence. If the frame shift mutation occurs near the end of the gene, if it occurs at the end of the gene, or if there is a second frame shift, or if there is a second, once the frame shift has occurred, again if there is a second frame shift, then the downstream from the first that will restore the reading frame. See, for example, once the reading frame is being shifted, again in the second time if the reading frame is being shifted, then further the protein that is being synthesized will become normal. That is what this fourth sentence means. The reading frame will become normal if in case second time the frame shift mutation occurs. Next point is a second nearby frame shift will restore, again this point means the same. The second frame shift will restore the proper reading frame of the protein. So this will suppress the mutation. If there is a second frame shift, that is going to suppress the mutation. That is all about frame shift mutation. So if there is only one frame shift, then the complete protein that is being synthesized will become abnormal. The second thing is, if the frame shift mutation occurs at the end of the gene, then still there are chances that the protein will function normally. The third point is, if the first frame shift, after the first frame shift, if there is a second frame shift mutation, then the first frame shift mutation problem will be resolved in the second frame shift mutation. That is all about frame shift mutations. The last type of mutation is conditional mutations. What is this conditional mutations? We all know that mutation will change the protein structure. Change in the protein structure will alter the phenotype of an organism in many different ways. So there might be some morphological changes that occurs to the organism. If it is a microorganism, if there is mutation, the colony, the microorganism, how they form colony, the colony itself will look different from the wild type. Or there might be some cellular morphologies that occurs in the cell. Initially the wild type colony would be producing yellow color. Because of mutation, they might produce a orange pigment. Like this, the colony morphology itself might change. So the protein structure will completely change the phenotype of an organism in many different ways. It might not only be color, the structure of the colony, the morphology of the colony will be completely changed. So this can be lethal to the cell, which results in the death of the cell itself. So why this happens is because a microbe must be able to grow, to be isolated and studied. In microorganisms, we should know, we should always be able to grow the microorganism, isolate them, and we have to study them. But if there are lethal mutations, there might be chances that the organism itself dies. But these lethal mutations can be recovered only if they are conditional mutations. If there are conditional mutations, then these type of lethal mutations can be recovered. What is a lethal mutation? The organism might die in that case. But these lethal mutations can be recovered if there are some conditional mutations occur. What is this conditional mutations? Conditional mutations are those that are expressed only under certain environmental conditions. For example, there is a E. coli cell which usually grows at a low temperature. So because usually grows at a low temperature, but because of a mutation, it might start growing in the high temperature. Say for example, E. coli cell usually grows at 37 degrees Celsius. So some mutation will occur to that, and what happens is that will start growing in higher temperatures. So once it starts growing in higher temperature, it might be possible for us to resolve the problem. So we can save the cell by growing the cell at higher temperature. That is what conditional mutation means. So if we grow the cell, so we know that now the mutation has occurred because of which the cell is growing at higher temperature. That means now we can save that cell. When we re-inoculate it, we can incubate it at higher temperature. So therefore the cell is being saved. The cell will not die. This might be vice versa also. If the E. coli cell is growing at 37 degrees Celsius, because of certain mutation, it can grow at lower temperatures like 25 degrees Celsius. So we can make the cell alive by growing the cell at 25 degrees Celsius. So this type of mutation, we call it as conditional mutations. So that is all about mutations. If you all have any doubts, you can call me. Further, we will be continuing this video by spontaneous and induced mutation. So in my further videos, you will be seeing what is spontaneous mutation, what is induced mutation, what are the different types of mutagens that are involved in spontaneous and induced mutation. All this we will be studying in my further videos. So we will be continuing this video as spontaneous and induced mutations. Thank you, class.